All right. Well, hi again, and welcome to this week's Alert is Power Lunch, where we're going to talk about, or the title is Essential AlertAware Configuration Tasks for Effective Management and Optimal Performance. So, my name is Brooke, and I'm a trainer here at Alertis, and we're also joined by Sarah, who's another training specialist here, who'll be leading the conversation today. We will be talking about, we're doing a deep dive into the key system for configuration settings in AlertAware for AlertAware owners and admin, as well as managing users and recipients, groups, and one-touch activations. So whether you're new to AlertAware or looking to optimize your configuration, this session will provide valuable tips and best practices to help you get the most out of your system. As always, this is an interactive session, so please feel free to ask any questions using the QA or chat feature. And also please be aware that this session is being recorded for training purposes. All right, so I'm going to throw it over to Sarah to get us started.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, Brooke. I will go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. I'm just taking a look here at the AlertAware portal login screen. I'm just going to log in with my owner account, but if you are an admin in the AlertAware system, when you log in, you should see something that looks very similar to this. And all of the functionalities that we're going to go over today can also be done from the AlertAware app on your phone. But just for ease of use and seeing a bigger screen, we're going to walk through the web portal here. I'd recommend doing configuration work from your computer instead of your phone whenever possible. But we'll get started by taking a look at how you can add users and recipients into your AlertAware system to make sure that they are able to receive notifications from your organization. So there are two types of people that you can add into the system. They are users and recipients. Basically, the main difference between users and recipients is that users will have an AlertAware account, so they'll be able to log into the AlertAware app and receive push notifications on their phone through the app. And they'll also be able to report emergencies and incidents if you're using the incident reporting feature, again, through the AlertAware app. And then recipients are a little bit different because they won't actually have an AlertAware account or be able to log into the AlertAware app. So recipients would be people that you don't need to use the app. Recipients are just able to get the text, voice call, and email notifications. So those are the differences between the two. And if you do need to manually add a few users or recipients at a time, you can do that under this Manage section on the left-hand side here. If you click into this Users tab, this is where you're able to send new invitations. You can click Invite a User, fill out their information, assign them to a specific role, and then click Invite, so they'll get an email invitation to set up their AlertAware account. And then you can also see all of your users here. You're able to search for specific users from this page, and then you can also click these edit actions on the right-hand side if you do need to update any individual users' settings. For example, if you're upgrading someone from like a reader to an admin or owner, you're able to do that manually from this page. And then this is also a page where you are able to track the status of any of those invitations that you've sent out. I don't have any pending invitations, but any of those would show up here. And then you're also able to revoke invitations if for whatever reason you don't want them to be able to go through the process anymore. So this is where, again, you can add those users. And then you can also add recipients manually under this Manage section. If you click on Recipients, it will bring you to this page where you're able to create recipients. Again, these are just people that will have their information in the system, so they'll be able to get the text, voice call, and email alerts if you target them. So this is where you can manually add those users and recipients. We'll definitely look at some more automated ways to import them in bulk, so you don't have to do everything one by one. But the last tab under this Manage section I did want to take a look at is this Groups tab. Just to show you, this is where you're able to create new groups in AlertAware, and then this is also where you're able to edit the settings for your groups. So to create a group, you just click Create Group. You can give it a name. You can also provide a PIN code to associate with that group. Essentially, the PIN code will protect the group from being able to be like joined or let people leave the group without putting in the PIN code. And then you can also put in a description for the group if you'd like to do that as well. And then once you do have your groups set up, again, you can click the three dots on the right-hand side to edit your groups. So if you decide later down the line that you do want to pin protect a particular group, you're able to add a pin from here. And then you're also able to add recipients and add users to the group from this page if you'd like to search up some specific people, and then you can select them and add them to that group from here. So those are some of the more manual ways to manage, again, your users, recipients, and your groups. But there are some faster options. So one place that's really helpful is this data sync tab. So this is where you are able to upload your user and recipient information in bulk as a CSV file. So I definitely recommend doing this if you're managing a large number of people. So I'm just going to click on this users section here, and then it will bring you to this page where you're able to upload a CSV file for your users. And you can decide to just do a manual upload, or you can also schedule the upload at fixed time intervals. You can have it even go daily or weekly if you'd like to make sure that you have everyone updated and added as soon as possible. And then you're also able to give the upload file a name here. You can decide if you're doing it from directory or from any connections that you have set up. I'll just leave it with from directory, and then I'm able to just click this attachment icon to select whatever CSV file on my device that I want to upload. And this even gives you the option to download a sample CSV file if you do want to see the formatting that is required to make sure that everything is uploaded smoothly. And I already downloaded this sample file and just uploaded it to my drive here so we can take a look at what that CSV should look like. But basically, it's just a spreadsheet here where you'll have everyone's first and last name. Their username should just be their email. And then you can also assign phone numbers, email addresses. You can do multiple if they have multiple. And then you're also able to go ahead and add them to specific groups from this CSV that you're importing. So whatever you have in the group column are the groups that these users or recipients would be added to. And if you do want to add them to multiple groups, you can list multiple groups in this column. You'll just want to separate it with this. I can't remember what that symbol is called, but like the up and down dash here, just to separate the groups. So awesome. So that's how the CSV import would work. It works very similarly for recipients as well. And then once you do upload either of those files, you're able to come down here to see the status of that upload. So you can see if it's completed successfully, and then you'll also be able to see if it was completed with errors. It will tell you what the error was. So like this example, my username format was invalid. So I'll know to go and fix that to make sure that it is able to be uploaded without any errors. And there are also some other options from this data sync tab that could be helpful as well. For example, from this connections section, this is where you're able to create a connection if you do want to use like an SFTP to more securely upload a file, then you're able to establish that here. And then you can also sync AlertAware with your Active Directory. So this is a bit of a new integration, but essentially once you establish the connection, you're able to pull in Active Directory groups into your AlertAware system. And then the last option I did want to show you for adding in new users is something that is pretty new. We do actually have a self-registration portal that is available now. So this would be accessed under the settings section. You should now see this option for a self-registration portal. So this is where you're able to create and manage those self-registration portals. I have a couple I just created as a test. Maybe I'll delete this old one and then create a new one with you. But this self-registration portal does what it says. It just lets people register themselves if you share this information with them. So you'll just start by giving it a name. Maybe I'll just name it self-registration portal test again. You can give it a title. This title is just what would be visible to the public. So maybe it could be like AlertAware alerts or just whatever title you want to kind of give people an idea of what it is. And then you can also give a description as well that will be visible to your users when they're signing up. So maybe it could be something like, use this to sign up for alerts or something like that. I'm just going to say, maybe sign up here. And then this active toggle just means that it's turned on so people are able to use it to register. And then once you click create, it will generate the self-registration portal information. So there will be a QR code that people can scan, and then there will also be a URL that you can copy and share with anyone that you'd like to be able to sign up as a user in AlertAware. I'm just going to visit that link here, and this is essentially what the sign up form will look like. So it will just prompt them to put in their first and last name, their email, and a phone number, and then they can submit that to create their account so they'll be able to sign into that AlertAware app and get those push notifications. And currently this self-registration portal will just go ahead and add everyone as a reader, and then you're able to go back later and update any group assignments or change anyone's access if you need to. That's awesome. So those are essentially the ways that you can add people to the system and set up your groups. And so the last major configuration task that I did want to walk through with you all is how to configure alerts in the AlertAware system. So if you would like to activate from AlertAware, there are two different options for alerts that you can send out. There are one-touch activations and also custom activations. And if you're familiar with Alertus, one-touch activations in AlertAware are very similar to preset alerts in Alertus. Basically, these one-touch activations you create ahead of time so that they're ready to send really quickly. And then custom activations here will let you just fully customize the alert right before you're ready to send it out. But I thought we could create a one-touch activation together. So you can do that in a couple of different ways. You could just click this custom activation tile to build out a custom activation. And then instead of just activating it, you can save it as a template and make it a one-touch activation. But you can also configure new one-touch activations if you just click the one-touch activation tile and then click create one-touch activation. And then we'll just walk through all of the information here to build out this alert. Maybe for this example, I'm just going to name it, let's say, building 1 evacuation order. And then I can put in my notification content. Maybe I'll just say there is an evacuation order in effect for building 1. Of course, you can put in whatever information you'd like to share here. And there are a couple of options for inserting a variable or inserting a prompt. So if you click insert variable, this will let you pull in a couple of different notification variables that would just be updated automatically based on who or when it's being sent. So for example, you could pull in the name of the person that sent it. You could even pull in your organization's name or the activation date if you'd like. And then you do also have the option to insert a prompt here. So if you click the dropdown, you can select this Alertus message prompt. So this is helpful if you are activating AlertAware from your Alertus system. You'll be able to automatically pull in whatever message you have in your Alertus alert. But since we're just going to activate this from AlertAware, I wouldn't need that. But you do also have the option to just create your own prompts if you do want to put in specific information as a prompt that someone would have to fill out before they send it. But maybe I will just leave it without a prompt for now. You can also attach a file here if you did want to pull in like an evacuation map or additional instructions, you can attach a file there. And then you do also have the option to create a poll. This is helpful if you want people receiving the alert to be able to respond to poll options that you give them. Like you could give them an option to say, I understand, and maybe another option to say, I need more information, something like that. But the poll is optional. So if you don't have any poll responses generated, then it won't show them a poll. And I recommend only using the polls if you do know that it's going to be something that you're monitoring. So just for this example, I'll keep it simple and not include a poll. And then now that we've got that, the next section here is where we get to pull in our recipients. So this is where we can either just select all to send it to everyone. We could also pick specific groups. Since this is for an evacuation in building 1, I'd probably want to pick just my building 1 group, but you can go ahead and pick multiple groups if needed. And then you do also have the option, even after you select a group, to select additional recipients or users. So that could be helpful if you do want to send it to a couple additional people that you want to be able to select individually. And then once we have our recipients, there is also an option here to decide if you want to show or hide the comment box. So I'm going to click to hide it just because I might not be monitoring the comments. The comment box, again, just lets people leave comments when they're confirming the alert. So I'd recommend hiding it unless you are monitoring it and you do want people to be able to leave those comments. And then the next section here is where you pull in the duration for the alert. This is basically just how long it will show up as active in your AlertAware system. So maybe I'll just have it be active for 1 hour. And the system will attempt to have a successful delivery for the full duration. But once a delivery is successful, it won't keep sending notifications out for the same alert. So don't worry about calling or texting people nonstop for the full duration. Again, it's basically just how long the alert would show up as active in the system. And then if you do want to attach this alert to a particular event, like you have a campus event going on where you're sending out a bunch of different communication related to that event, you can create an event here, again, just to organize your alerts within that event. And you can also select an icon as well if you want to give it an icon to help you tell your alerts apart a little bit more easily. I do think I have an evacuation icon that I can pull in. And then the final step here are selecting your delivery methods. So I have all of these options here. Let's say for this fire evacuation example, maybe I just want to send a push notification, and maybe I also want to activate my Alertus system. I'll show you how that works when I send it. This is where you select essentially how you want to deliver it. If you're sending a voice call, emails, text, any of that, and you can select as many as you need here. And then once you select each modality you want to use, you can click the drop down to further customize the settings. So for example, if instead of just using the default phone behavior, I want to play one of these emergency tones to really get everyone's attention, I can do that. I can select the tone that I want to use and then preview it here. And then there is also an option for push notifications that you can designate them as a critical alert. This basically just means that even if the user has their phone silenced or on mute, the critical alert would override that and still make an audible notification. And then the next delivery method I was using is Alertus, just to show you how that would work. But if you do select Alertus as a delivery method, if you do have an Alertus system, it will prompt you to pick what Alertus alert you would like to activate as well. And I do believe I have a preset alert for an evacuation in building 1. So I'm just going to select to send that preset alert as well. And you do have the option here, if you want to click this checkbox, you can use AlertAware's text. So instead of sending whatever you have in your Alertus preset alert, it would be able to send this AlertAware text to your Alertus devices. So maybe I will do that this time as well. but I think that looks good. So once you have everything set up and ready to go, this is where you have a couple of options at the bottom. So you could just go ahead and activate this now if you don't need to save it for later. You could also schedule the activation to go out at a future time. You'll just click that and then pick whenever you want it to go out. And then you do also have the option to save this as a template. So I could pick one of these template categories that helps me keep things organized. I have one just for all of my templates. And then to make it a one-touch, you'll just want to turn on this toggle here that says make it a one-touch, and then go ahead and click save. So that will successfully save the one-touch. So I'll hit OK. And now if I do go back to this one-touch section, I should see this building one evacuation order one-touch that we just created. So now it's ready to go. And I can also go ahead and activate it now to show you what that will look like. So I'll just click that activate button, and then it will show the information here so that we can confirm how we have this set up and make sure that everything looks good. I can see my delivery methods, that I'm targeting these groups, and then I'll go ahead and just click yes to send out that one touch, select OK, and then we should be able to see the alert going out. And I did get the critical alert on my phone. I actually have an Apple Watch, so I heard the beep and I got the alert on there. And then we can see the Alertis devices going off behind me since I sent the alert out to Alertis. There's the desktop alert. And then just to quiet all of my Alertis devices, I'm going to quickly come into my Alertis console here. And then I will, once I refresh the page, be able to see my active Alertis alert that I can go ahead and cancel to stop those alert beacons from lighting up behind me. And then I can also see my push notification that I sent to my phone through AlertAware. I can see that it was designated as a critical alert with that message about the evacuation order for building 1. And I'm able to open it here as a reader, and then I'll be able to confirm it in the system. But awesome. I think that was everything that I had planned to walk through with you all, but we do still have about 7 minutes left if there are any other AlertAware questions or any other information that you're interested in seeing today.
Thanks so much, Sarah, for sharing all of that. That was definitely helpful. I'm going to put some knowledge-based articles in the chat around what Sarah has reviewed. So this one is all about how to do the data sync that Sarah went through. And then I'm going to put in another article around creating the one-touch activations. So you can review those in your customer portal. In addition, for next week, we are off for Memorial Day weekend, so we do not have a power lunch on the 23rd, but we do have one on the 30th around custom event triggers. So I'll put that in the link into the chat as well. And we hope to see you there. We'll stay on for a few more minutes if you have any questions, but I'm not seeing any come in. So thank you all for your time today, and have a good weekend.